Well, the role of the board is to set vision. And I know that the board has set a vision because I've been on the website and I've read it. But there seems to be a disconnect between the vision that's on the website and the reality on the ground. That's what's inspired me to run for the board, because boards, the other role is they have to make their administration accountable. They have to, they set policy, and they have to follow up on policy. They have to make sure the administration is actually following board policy. That involves setting guidelines, timelines, and making the administration accountable to them. The board's also, the Texas Education Code states the board's responsible for making sure that the services that are required to be provided to our students are actually provided. I'm intimately familiar with that provision because of the Gifted and Talented program. The Gifted and Talented state plan that comes from Texas TEA, on the bottom of every single page of the booklet, states that the school board is ultimately responsible for making sure that their districts provide the education that's required by the TEA's Gifted and Talented state plan. If you don't have any accountability, if you haven't asked to see what your Gifted and Talented program looks like, if you haven't looked to see how it's doing, its progress, where its weaknesses are, what its strengths are in several years, how can you be sure you're actually providing those services to your children? As a GT parent, I can tell you that those reports have not been given for several years, and it's the board's responsibility to make sure that we are providing the services that the state law requires. Of course, the board's also responsible for overseeing the budget. It's responsible for determining when and if bond elections are needed for school improvement, for buildings. Our board was very courageous in making sure that we got a bond election passed a couple of years ago. Thank goodness University High School is going to have a new high school. I can tell you from working in that building, it is appalling for us to expect as a community for professionals to work in that kind of environment. So I applaud the board for taking the, bond elections, raising taxes is not a popular thing to do. Boards are not supposed to micromanage, and they don't meddle, and they don't tell the administrator how to do their job. They're policy makers, but they have to, the community elects them and they hold them in their trust to make sure that the policies are actually being followed by the administration.